Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to a best of 5 series of top-level StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Protoss versus Zerg. And this particular series is the grand finals of the ESL Open Cup Korea number 143, which I believe, if you're watching this on the day that it goes up, was played yesterday. So spawning right here in the top right-hand corner, playing with the red Protoss probes from South Korea, we have herO. And herO is going to be playing under a barcode nickname. His opponent in the opposite corner with the blue Zerg drones, he goes by the name of Dark. Alright, so Dark versus herO in a best of 5 series. When it comes to high-level StarCraft, it doesn't get much better than these two. And obviously both of these players are more than keen to play an aggressive game from time to time. Especially, of course, Mr. herO. Over the last couple of months, he's really changed the way that Protoss versus Zerg is played. Last half year or so, maybe even longer than that. Time is kind of funny, but anyways, there's no denying that herO has been popularizing that very aggressive style, but a lot of players have essentially taken his early game build orders and are now using that to play a longer, drawn-out macro game instead. And I wonder if that's what we're gonna be seeing out of our Protoss player right here as well. Third base taken here by Dark first and foremost. This is one of those things that's a little bit annoying, right? When that probe comes in right at the very start of the game and you can't actually take your 16 hatchery on the low ground. We've seen a lot of Zerg players experiment with a variety of openers. So some of them go for a pool first specifically because of this. Sometimes we used to see players going for like a 15 hatch or like a 14 hatch. None of that really worked out as well as they liked. And most of the time, the strategy that they've settled on is just going for the third hatchery first. One of the most annoying things if you're a ladder herO, but at this level of play, I don't think it's really going to bother Dark because, well, it happens in like half of the games. And if you think about it a little bit more, right, this probe was sent so early that it's quite literally, I think these are the first 5 minerals that it mined just now. Maybe it did like one return trip at home, but it's quite literally not been mining for like 2 minutes now. And that is already roughly 100 minerals lost in potential mining time on just a single worker. And even though Dark is going to have to transfer the drones all the way over there, and it's going to take him a little bit longer too, in the end, it doesn't really matter, and it all evens out. Alrighty, so what kind of strategy are we going to play? It's going to be a Stargate, yeah. Not the fastest possible Stargate. So we go through different phases, I guess, in the Protoss versus Zerg matchup in particular when it comes to those Stargate timings. There's moments where, especially with like new maps and all that, the players are really trying to rush out those oracles and get them out as fast as possible. So they'll basically delay the warp gate research and they'll delay a bunch of the gateway units as well just to try and go for the fastest possible Stargate. In this case, it's still going to be oracles, I believe, but they're not going to be coming out nearly as quickly. And this is something that Dark sees right now as well. So Dark is looking at a lot of these structures. He certainly noticed that there was an upgrade going on in the Cyber Core. Generally speaking, if you want to go for a very, very quick Stargate, should be okay for the Zerg. Yeah, generally speaking, when you want to go for a super quick Stargate, you delay the warp gate research for a little bit. So basically, in order to go for a Twilight Council, a Robo Facility, or a Stargate, you need to finish up your Cyber Core. Now, Twilight Councils and Robo Facilities are 100 gas each, whereas the Stargate is 150. And it just so happens to be that the Warp Gate research also is a 50 gas upgrade. Anyways, what I'm getting at is that usually if you go for a Stargate, you go for a delayed Warp Gate research. So Dark may not actually be expecting an Oracle at this point because he did see that upgrade coming up right away. Third Nexus, though, comes up at the conventional time. 2 Queens available in the main base. The top-level Zergs, yeah, they're very good. When you show up with a delayed Oracle like that, you're not going to be able to get much work with it done. However, maybe these couple of Adepts here, yeah, they just snuck through the center of the map. They've made it all the way to the side of the Zerg, unscouted. Alright. Better over at the third base. They're going to get cleaned up, of course, eventually. Yeah. 4 drones for 2 Adepts is decent, but that's certainly not game-ending damage. What's really going to happen here is that Dark is just going to hold down the drone button even harder than he already has. This is a good amount of work now, though. Assuming he's going to be okay at home as well, yep. herO using another Oracle right there. That's the 3rd one in this game. Okay, now we're talking damage. Yeah, he uses that at home to defend against those Zerglings that came in with the counter-attack. And now in total, 10 drones have gone down. 5 Zerglings at the cost of just 2 Adepts. And, well, a little bit of energy right there, as well as some health right there on that Oracle. Ideally, of course, you don't lose any health on that unit. You can't actually get it back. The shields will, however, regenerate. Considering he's made 3 of those bad boys anyways, I don't think it matters as much. Good start here for Protoss, who's now making his transition. So this is essentially what herO popularized. A very, very quick Nexus based off of, well, clever SimCity as well as very fast oracles. I guess in this game, not quite as fast. And then a transition towards a Twilight Council and a Fort later on. And that's usually when we really start seeing that gateway production increase. So up to this point, he's really been producing out of just a handful of structures. In theory, you'd imagine that it's a little bit risky, but since Zerg players with the new StarCraft 2 patch, well, it's been a while, I guess, but they don't have access anymore to those Queen Marches as easily. Since the Queens can no longer transfuse off creep, these sort of build orders are now, yeah, viable. Zergs used to punish Protoss if they were to play this greedy, but these days, at the very least, over the last couple of months, I haven't seen a timing attack that really works out well for the Zerg players at this level. Alright, so Dark actually following us up with a very quick Baneling Nest, as well as +1 melee. So he has decided to skip, and this is a little bit risky, he's decided to forgo the Roach Warren for now. Generally speaking, Roach Warrens are very important, just because there's a bunch of units from the Protoss that, well, are incredibly good when it comes to dealing with, well, a bunch of Zerglings and Banelings, right? If you go for a bunch of Archons or even like Colossus play, basically any of the high-tech units, they deal with Lings and Banes very, very well. But in this case, Dark, yeah, taking a bit of a gamble. He knows he's playing against herO, who, well, like I said already, like 4 times. He's been playing this gateway style quite a bit. So I don't think it's really too much of a gamble, but certainly, yeah, a corner that he's cutting. So he's going straight into the Baneling speed upgrade together with a Hydralisk then. So it's going to be Hydraling Bane right here from Dark, meaning that until like the 9-minute mark, he's not going to have much of a standing army that would be good against, for example, well, you know, a variety of Protoss counterattacks, really, but I don't think it's really going to matter all too much in this particular game because herO is going mass gateway unit. All right. Oh, he's going +1 armor. Interesting. I wonder if he wants to go Ultralisks or something like that later. I imagine you go for Missile here instead, but... Alright. Anyways, Hydras are coming up. Protoss setting themselves up for a pretty large attack as well. Dark has just finished droning 76 workers here in total. Did he drone too much, however? Because he just invested into a ton of things that aren't finished yet. So this attack here from herO can actually deal a lot of damage. A lot of force fields available here. Yeah. That's one way to keep those Zerg players back. So Bane speed not done yet. +2 not done. +1 not done. Yeah, this base is in a lot of trouble. In the meantime, there's also a little bit of aggression here at that first base that Dark took. Yeah, now the force fields are just keeping that Zerg player out. I love that. This is what happens when you skip the Roach Warren and the Roach Ravager stuff. I mean, there's build orders that would be even better against skipping that sort of Roach Warren. But, yeah, it's going to be incredibly hard to actually get into that base. Maybe if he played slightly less greedy with the amount of drones he made. And maybe if he didn't go double upgrades and all the rest of these things. But, yeah, not a big enough army. So that hatchery ends up going down. Couple of extra drones after the 10 that we saw falling in the early game, but nothing too significant. Upon seeing, though, the Hydra stuff, yeah, the Hydraling Bane army, herO immediately plants down a Robo facility as well as another Robo facility as well as a Robo Bay. That's going to allow him to go into Disruptors as well as Colossi. I believe with the Stalkers, you'll probably go for the Colossus. Which is kind of funny, like a build order we used to see a lot. This is a completely different way of getting there, but a build order we used to see a lot in the early days of StarCraft 2 was a heavy focus on Stalkers and Colossus. So, Stalker, Colossus, Sentry, maybe with some Zealots and Charge and all that. Yeah, this is what we used to see in like 2010 when these units were like first added because they literally did not exist in StarCraft 1. Kind of cool. Just like fashion, apparently. StarCraft strategies also are, how do you call that? A circle? Seasonal? No, that's not it. Well, it's a very long season. Anyways, you get what I'm trying to say. The build orders, they tend to come and go. Alright. At this point, does Dark know what he's going up against? I do not believe he's seen the Robo Bay or the second Robo facility. And if that's the case, he is going to be in a lot of trouble. So, Colossi deal bonus damage against light. Essentially, all of these units here from Zerg are light, with the exception of the Banelings. But good luck trying to deal with this cost-efficiently playing Mass Baneling. He really needs either Corruptors, or Vipers, or maybe Roaches. But he's got none of that. And at this point, I don't believe that he actually knows of this Colossus force. That's it. There's only 2 of them. Okay, I was going to say. Thought I saw more on the production tab. Maybe these guys will actually get spotted. Yeah, that's something. One option, though, that Zerg players always have at their disposal is just a full-on counterattack. Okay, at the very least, we're rolling some of the Banelings in. A ton of value, actually, out of those units. That being said, the rest of the army will go down. In the meantime, though, Zerglings are running in all of the bases of Protoss. And these are well-upgraded Zerglings. Remember, the +1 upgrade started very early? These guys do not mess around. Yeah, probes are falling left, right, and center. This is a lot of damage being done right now by the Zerg, but at the cost of their entire army. And I can guarantee you that there's going to be a massive counterattack here from Protoss in just a moment. He just lost 22 probes, but he also knows that he killed... that's going to be more. Yeah, 41 workers actually. Now there's also Banelings blowing up on the left side. Okay, that's a little bit more than we saw initially. Yeah, that was at the cost of the entire Zerg army, and there's still no reliable answer against those Colossi. One of the Colossus has gone down. Okay, that's nice, I guess. More Zerglings going in for the counterattack, but this Protoss army has to be addressed here before too long. Okay. Alright. Dark just buying time. He just wants to buy as much time as possible, knowing very well that the Protoss army is coming. I've got a feeling, though, he doesn't have anything, right? What's he gonna do? He wants to buy time, probably, until he finishes up the Hive. So he can go into... Oh, I say this word. So he can go into Viper play. Vipers would be amazing here, but... Yeah, whilst he is dealing a ton of damage on the other side... Well, he has just killed 69 workers. Nice. There's no way he's gonna address this army. Like, what's he gonna do? Making Hydra Ling against it? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe? No. No, 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 no. Every time those Colossi shoot lasers, look at their kill counts. Yeah, it's all in their late 20s right now when it comes to the amount of units that they've killed. There it is. Game number 1 goes in favor of herO. Our second game is taking place on the map Data C. Cybercore is going to finish. Are we once more going to go into the Warp Gate research? Is he still going to go for a Stargate, though? Because he's got 100 gas. I think he's saving up until he's got 150 again. So today might just be the day of the late Stargate openers. Yeah. I haven't really looked at the exact details of the Protoss early game in this matchup over the last couple of weeks, but it's kind of funny. These things really do come and go all the time. Alright. Apparently it's not so much the timing of the Oracle that matters here. It's just that you get a bunch of them out eventually before the Zerg can really go for a lot of Zerglings on the other side of the map and potentially shut down your third Nexus. Okay. So is Dark going to mix it up at all? So, Colossi, just to clarify, they deal bonus damage against light units. So back in the early day of StarCraft 2, back in the early days, you would see Colossus being used basically all the time because they were good against everything. And at some point, Blizzard essentially made the call to make the Immortal very good against armored units and the Colossus very good against light units. So rather than them both being pretty good against everything, yeah, they very specifically became units that can counter other units much better. Anyhow, Roaches are armored and absolutely trash Colossus. So it's one of those units that you're not usually considering, but if you skip the Roach Warren, obviously, you don't even have the option. So I don't recommend skipping the Roach Warren. I don't think it's particularly great. Generally speaking, most Zerg players find more success, it seems, just going for a Roach Ravager mid-game because it's definitely more well-rounded, I suppose, than going straight for Hydroling Bane. I think if you don't have Lurkers out, or Vipers, or Colossi, there it is. Or Colossus. If you don't have Vipers, or Corruptors, or Roaches, or anything like that, right? You're going to be in a lot of trouble against those Colossus-based openers, so... Good punishment right there from herO. spotting a weakness in the opponent's plan and, yeah, winning the game because of it. This time around, 4-minute Roach Warren there for Dark. 2 Adepts marching across. 2 Oracles already available as well. Should be well defended. Yep. Good control. Very nice control. Dark cutting a corner here. Skipping the Spore Crawler in the natural while going for one in the main base. Oh, dude. Oh, close. But no kill. Yeah, herO's Oracle control is very sweet. 8 workers there, despite the fact that Dark had it, for all intents and purposes, countered. So again, a corner cut, right? This time around, he didn't go and skip the Roach Warren, but he skipped the Spore Crawler in the natural. Got punished for it right away, because the Queens had to now run on over there to try and defend, and then he had no Queens in the main base, and one Spore Crawler is not going to cut it if the guys can just tank a little bit of damage. Not bad at all. There's +1 coming up. There's the Twilight Council. He's got resources. I'm not sure what we're waiting for. Ugh. I hope for herO's sake he didn't accidentally forget the blink. Or the charge. Or anything. Alright, there it is. Yeah. Definitely delayed. At least he found out, though, before he tried blinking around his Stalkers. That happens all the time, where you get a little bit too comfortable playing a certain strategy, that you move out with an army, and you're like, okay, guys, use Stimpec. And then you realize, oh, snap, I forgot to start up that upgrade in the first place. That would have kind of sucked if herO decided to go across the map and he realized, when he tried blinking with the Stalkers, that he didn't have blink. Alright. Now, I like this a lot here from Dark. I think the Spire is actually one of the most powerful openers. Oh, there's an Oracle. Spire is actually awesome. So, this is one of those builds that we didn't really see in the previous patch, because Protoss players were by default going double Stargate Void Ray, right? Or even triple Stargate. Usually, if that's the case, Phoenixes just absolutely trash Mutalisks. So, as long as Protoss figures out what they're going up against, yeah, Mutas can get shut down pretty easily. However, these days, it's usually a bunch of Oracles, maybe some Blink Stalker as well, but a group of Mutas, they can still be incredibly annoying. Because normally, right, when you're playing Blink Stalker, you're the one being aggressive, and you're the one on the other side of the map trying to poke at the Zerg. But, of course, when you're going up against Mutas, you need to use those units defensively instead, and you don't really have a very reliable way of dealing with Mutas, so I don't mind this at all. How much gas are we going to save up, Dark? He's already at 1,000, so he wants to make like a dozen of those units all in one go. Nice harassment here from our Protoss, but he does not know what he's going up against. So now the Spire is finished. 10 Mutas are coming up, +1 Flyer starts researching too. So that's a huge indicator that Dark wants to stick around on his unit comp for quite a while. Okay. So let's see how this goes. As long as Dark defends against all of these units, yeah, he can potentially show up unscouted on the other side of the map with a dozen of these flippy flappies. And if that's the case, he is gonna be... Did he spot it just now? I don't think... Ooh, yeah, he sees it right now. Okay. That's an important scout. So now he at the very least can start preparing. He may have already noticed it because he started up a Phoenix a little bit ago. Immediately, though, puts his foot on the gas. Okay. herO, no time anymore to just sit around and do nothing. He decides to go straight into the attack with the Stalkers, recognizing that there's probably not going to be that much available for the Zerg player on the ground to defend against that army. And now, okay, the units are back home. Good defense there from herO. Barely losing anything, and honestly, these units are going to get shut down hard. Okay. 6 Mutas. There goes the early game of Dark. Dark, however, is doubling down on Mutalisks. I would say 80% of the time when we see Mutas like this, Mutas will be built in just one go. So they will go for like one group of Mutas and then go straight back down to Roaches and Ravagers. In this case, though, it's going to be mass Muta. Don't fly all the other Oh, no. This is a rookie mistake, man. I don't like that at all. Yeah, so now herO sees the additional Mutas. That's a mistake. That revelation there, incredibly worthwhile. Anyways, there's this weird moment where if you have enough Mutas, they can actually take down Stalkers pretty easily. Because Stalkers are you know, not going to be clumping nearly as much as the Mutalisks. So since they take up quite a bit of space, if you're in the right engagement, you can actually get a lot of work done. There's now suddenly, once again, Zerg units everywhere. That Phoenix is certainly going to go down. Ling's over here working on some of the probes. Not too many falling just yet, but that's what we saw in the previous game as well. I think initially we saw like 22, then it was suddenly in the 40s. Those Banelings getting a lot of work done. Okay, and this Nexus may actually be in a lot of trouble as well. Full-on counterattack once again by Dark. Yeah. So what's the best counter to Mutas at this point? Honestly, you need Phoenixes or like Archons or Storm or Blink Stalker. So it's not that herO doesn't have the right units. It's just that he doesn't have them in the right place at the right time. Mutas obviously also have that rapid regeneration, which allows them to heal up incredibly fast out of combat. So even though they are, yeah, very flimsy units, only 120 health, they can certainly, yeah, get some work done when they go out of combat and then re-engage once again. Similar story, though, as in the previous game. A ton of economical damage is being done, but the main army of Protoss still needs to be addressed. Zerglings are taking down whatever they can. So, one thing to keep in mind here is that the win condition in a game of StarCraft 2, you know it's a good game whenever I remind you of the actual win condition. The win condition in a game of StarCraft 2 is to destroy all of your opponent's structures. Units are irrelevant. As long as Dark finishes off all the last buildings of the Protoss, he's going to end up winning. Zerg, obviously, and now has evacuated a lot of drones, and he's making hatcheries all over the map. Wouldn't be surprised if he's going to start making some over here as well in just a moment. At least he's made one, you know, all over the map. Is maybe a little bit aggressive, but... yeah, he's making one in the top left-hand corner. Revelation happens as soon as you lose all of your main structures. So for the Zerg, that includes the building hatchery as well. Protoss has already lost their Nexi, meaning that at this point... Dark can see where those final structures are through the fog of war. He can see where those structures are on the minimap. So, even though he might not be able to face off against that Protoss army in a head-on battle, it turns out he doesn't need to fight his army in a head-on battle either. Are there still probes out? Yeah, there's a probe over here. So this one actually is super important. We need a pylon. We need anything, dude. A gas geyser, a pylon. You're losing your final structures, herO. herO? Okay, yeah. He starts something up over here. Okay, that's huge. That would have been very sloppy. Okay, Dark sees that building on the minimap. So he knows that this is not the final structure, but he also knows that he wins this game as long as he kills one singular pylon. Ooh, Mutas are getting awfully close. Hello. What are we doing? Okay, I think it was just building hatcheries. and just trying to get his workers back to mining. Yeah, this is very good now for Dark, isn't it? Like, either he kills this pylon, which is great for Dark, or the Protoss has to split up their army. And, I mean, he's not splitting up his army so far. Zerglings in the main base are going to be able to take care of that. There are probes out still. Hello, you need to start something? Okay, he does start something. But this is the last structure, isn't it? Okay, he starts up a Nexus. That's big. Nexus starts up. But now he's forced to split up the units. I don't think splitting up the units is that great. I think as Zerg, what you do right now is kill one part of the army. Like, if you can get Zerglings over here, that would be massive. This hatchery in the top left, though, is really not that important because he's now mining in the bottom right as well as at the bottom of the map. One worker available. This bad boy right here for herO. I don't think it's really an option here for herO to... Yeah, he's scouting around with a Phoenix here, but he doesn't really see where all of those bases are. Anyways, I don't think it's really an option here for Protoss to start rebuilding their economy. Building it off of a single probe is going to take forever, especially since he needs like 8 pylons before he can properly start making something. Anyways, here we go. There's still enough minerals for the Protoss to build something else, but this Nexus is in a lot of trouble. He needs to start up something new. Okay, pylon comes up. Mutas are chasing this one down as well. Can we make something else? He did make something else. The game ends immediately as soon as the final structure dies. herO is cutting it very close. He's leapfrogging structures to try and get a kill on that hatchery at the 6 o'clock. The problem is, right, he probably assumes that this is the only mining base, but there's another hatchery in the bottom right that he's currently not aware of. Anyway, he kills this hatchery for sure as well. Well, unless the mutas have something to say about it, but I don't think they're going to be able to make it over there in time. He's making Zerglings again because the spawning pool was built in the bottom right. Now, this hatchery, okay. It's got to stay alive for now. But, yeah. There's no way. There's really no way for Protoss to win this, right? I think herO probably assumes that there's like 5 drones still out on the map. I think he saw the drones over here, though. He must realize that they went somewhere. Main base also reacquired. That's a fight on creep, so I guess that is something that Dark wouldn't mind taking. There's still that one probe. It's with the main army at all times. Base over here gets found. Fair enough. But that does mean that this Nexus is never gonna stay alive. I mean, he could recall, but I don't know if that's a great idea when you're recalling into fully upgraded, well, not fully upgraded, but well upgraded Zerglings. Burrow coming up as well, which I kind of like. Nexus once again falls. This pylon is the only structure that herO has at this point. He's now in the bottom right-hand corner, but guess what? Dark has expanded towards the top left. Yeah. There's this Dutch saying called dweilen met de kraan open. I'm pretty sure that's what herO is doing right now. I don't know what the English translation would be. I'll look it up after this game, because I've got a feeling we are ending it right now. There it is. So, I just looked it up. The direct translation of dweilen met de kraan open would be mopping with the tap open. Which doesn't it doesn't make as much sense in English, but obviously it means you're just, yeah, wasting time here. It's not like you're really achieving a whole lot. So, Mr. herO going around the map, trying his very best. Obviously, we knew exactly how much the Zerg actually had, right? So, in his mind, there was probably about half the amount of drones still left over in that game, but yeah, Dark had that one in the bag, and, well, unless he significantly misplayed. Either way, game number 3, we're on the map Cosmic Sapphire, and herO, he decides to mix it up. He now goes for a robo facility first. Yeah, Dark is always very good in those crisis management games, right? Like when he's all over the map, he's creating a ton of chaos, and somehow he always seems to be in control, regardless. It's really nice. It's controlled chaos, I suppose, in his mind. But that's usually what Mutaling Bane type of armies cause, right? Because you can move around the map so quick. You have the fastest moving unit composition in the game. And when your opponent doesn't have a lot of Phoenixes, they can't really reliably deal with the mutas as well. So in this case, there's definitely not going to be any any Phoenixes either. Robo Facility, though, is now building after that Prism, which got scouted right away. It's now building a Immortal, which is kind of interesting. It's just going to be a 2-base all-in. Is that what we're doing? No, I think if you go for a 2-base all-in, you go for the Immortals first. If you don't go for the Immortals first, the push will just hit later, right? Dark immediately went for a lair, by the way, so that's a 4-minute lair. Quite quick. Are we still going to go for a Roach Warren? If you want to build a Roach Warren, I think right now would be the time. Or a Bailing Mist. What are we doing? Is he gambling? He might be thinking here that he can actually get mutas out again. I've got a feeling this is going to be... Oh no, he's up top of Forge right now. Hey, what are we doing? So the Forge indicates that he wants to get an upgrade first before he actually goes for an attack. But that means that he's not going to move out until a couple minutes at least. Maybe he just wants to leverage himself into a 3rd Nexus right now? Is Dark really reading this correctly? I've got a feeling, though, this army here from Protoss is going to do a lot of damage. It's just Zerglings. To be fair, Immortals suck against Zerglings. I was thinking Ravager Link Queen or something like that, but good creep threat, by the way, in this direction. That really makes the defense much easier. Supply block? No! herO! Okay, this is one of the sloppiest high-level games I've seen in a while. I mean, it still might work. Huh? I don't understand what Dark is doing here, though. I mean, he's still gonna hold. Mostly because of that supply block, I think. Well, I say that. Why did he go straight for a lair? Like, he saw the timing of the prism. I think he probably assumed there was gonna be a third Nexus on the back of this. Normally, though, the third Nexus starts at latest at, like, the 5-minute mark. So this actually was still a good opener here for Protoss. I think it probably could have been a game-winning opener, though, if he did not hit that supply block just now and if he didn't lose the prism and all that. What a miss. Okay. I thought maybe Dark was assuming that he could get away with a very quick Spire. Ooh, really? Glaive to depth? Right now? Heh? Okay, sure. The Glaives upgrade, by the way, it allows you some additional attack speed on the... Well, a significant improvement in the attack speed of the Adept, which is awesome. But normally we only ever see that as a timing attack. Not really as a mid-game upgrade. There's still no third Nexus, though. There is a Prop over here, but... Yeah, maybe he's gonna plant one down eventually. This is a bit of a crazy game now. You know what? I like this position for Protoss quite a bit better, yeah. The creep spread is good of the Zerg, so he's got that going for him, but... He doesn't have a whole lot of economy. I think Dark probably assumed he was going to be able to get away with skipping the Baneling Nest as well as the Roach Warren and going straight into a Spire. Or maybe even like a Nidus Worm or something like that. Because otherwise I'm not sure why he decided to skip all of those structures and then go straight for a lair. Because, yeah, only just now is when he really starts making use... Only just now is when he really starts making use of the lair by building apparently a proxy Spire. Classic, of course. The good old proxy Spire. Not something that we see a whole lot, but hey, as soon as you get to lair tech, you can obviously, yeah, drop some creep with the Overlord and then use that creep to build structures. The Adepts are actually gonna pack a punch, though. So once the Mutas are out, this is gonna be an easy hold for Zerg. The problem is the Spire takes a long time to produce. He's trying to save up money right now to go for Mutas, and now suddenly we have how many? 27 Adepts showing up. He does not commit there with the Shade. He's trying to create some distraction, but honestly, this Protoss army is just plowing through whatever it can. The resources here that Dark had available are now also being spent, so no more money to really, make use of that Spire. So he's finished it just now, but not entirely sure what the point of it is going to be now. Yeah, he's gonna make some Mutas. Maybe create some chaos on the other side of the map, but this is one massive army. And now it's not like the Protoss units are still at home and they have to march across the map as well before that base race can still really begin, right? I mean, obviously Mutas can clean this army up because none of these Protoss units actually attack up. But it's gonna take a very long time. It's kind of like Roaches versus Mutas in Zerg versus Zerg. Like, technically maybe it's good for, you know, the Mutalisk player, but yeah, it's gonna take you too long to clean all of those units up, and there it is. Okay. I was ready to fast forward through the first couple of minutes of this game as well, but then Dark decided to send out a worker. Interesting. Map 4 in this series, by the way, is on Stargazers. Is herO gonna be able to realize, though, exactly what he's going up against? Dark is selling the story of once again getting his natural blocked and going for the third base first. He sees the gateway over there at the front. Are we gonna go proxy hatch? I think so. So Protoss actually checked. Protoss actually checked. That's huge. A lot of Protoss will not... Well, or not a lot of Protoss players on it. There you go. They will not actually check the third base to see if it's building. So at this point, he should realize that something is not quite right. He didn't see a drone moving across the map. He probably does not assume that that base is taken either. I would love to see this probe poking a little bit further. herO, come on.
Your probes are under attack.
Okay, now the spawning pool starts up. Okay, yeah, he sees it. He sees it. He sees it. herO puts 1 and 1 together. Immediately... Oh, he actually already started up the second gateway. Immediately drops the Cyber Core as well. For some reason, I thought that that was the Cyber Core, but obviously... Can't build one of those until that gateway is done. So, even though... Yeah, he didn't know exactly what he was facing off against, he still managed to get a bunch of units ready to go regardless. Well done. It's a bit weird, isn't it? How much chrono boost do we have available? Okay, 1. Right now. You don't want to, like, overestimate this either, though. So he goes for a queen as well as, like, a group of Zerglings. So maybe a creep tumor or two, but... There's no way. He's still making a lot of links. He can also pop down a Roach Warren. He's pretending once more to go for a hatchery here on the low ground, but... Is he still going to commit? I think he is, yeah. Using these Zerglings to buy a little bit of time. Yeah, there's no way, though. That queen is not going to come out. Zerglings were made at home, too, but link speed is not going to be done anytime soon. Good attempt right here from Dark, but, stellar defense here from Protoss, first and foremost. Not panicking. Not really making too many zealots or making any critical mistakes here either. It's very easy to get freaked out and then, you know, find yourself in a terrible position. Now we're going in for the counterattack while Protoss is making a Nexus at home. Can still go for a Stargate or a Robo or even a Twilight if you really want to here in just a moment. Dark did, however, make the Roach Warren, so he's going to have Roaches and Zerglings with speed. Yeah, I don't think that these Protoss units are going to be able to achieve too much, but they can just walk back home, right? So there's already a Roach over here. Wait, what? Hold up. Did he? Okay. Yeah, there was still one larva over here left over, or 2 larvae even. They were still left over after the hatchery died. So he's going for a Spore Crawler at home, but then he starts up a Roach here in the middle of the map. One of the larvae right there sadly pops because it's off creep. But at the very least, he can get 1 Roach out, so that's something. Good scout here as well from herO, by the way. He sees that one little egg. herO adept, getting some work in. Anyway, so that Roach does show up on the other side, so that's nice, I guess. That's now causing all of those Protoss units to go back home. Good scout here as well for the Zerg, though. Yeah, he sees a whole lot of nothing. Robo facility gets planted down right now. That's nice. Zerg at the very least knows, and now links are surrounding some of those units in the middle of the map, too. Okay. All right. This is actually pretty salvageable right now for Zerg, I believe. I mean, he's still making a lot of attacking units. I'm a little surprised by that. I guess he's seen that there's no Stargate or anything like that, so he's not really too concerned about flying units at this point, but it's going to be incredibly hard to break this. I mean, there's only 1 pylon, I guess, powering this entire front, so that's nice if Zerg can shut that down, but 2 shield batteries are going to be available, battery overcharge energy. Okay, 1 shield battery is going to be available, battery overcharge energy as well. Yeah, he's still just going to go for it all in. So Dark is just making as big of an army as he can. Even though his proxy hatchery really didn't do too much, he still is ready to commit. Okay. That's a little bit of a magnet over here. Don't get drawn too much to it. Okay, that's a really good position, actually. Yeah, those corrosive biles were killer. Battery overcharge cannot heal those stalkers up fast enough, and Dark actually takes them out. Now battery overcharge is going to be on cooldown for a long while, too. Immortal just started up. For some reason, that one is also... Oh, okay, I was going to say. That would have been incredibly delayed. Doesn't make a lot of sense. The problem is there's no armored units here for Zerg, right? So it's not like the Immortal really does very well against Zerglings and Ravagers. A lot more Zerglings coming up, actually. Don't lose the Immortal! He does lose it. Very nice micro here from Dark. Yeah, just raining corrosive biles in the front door right there. Eventually the Cyber Core falls, and when the Cyber Core falls, at this point you can only ever make Zealots. Okay, one of the Ravagers there does get popped. Nice movement. Second Immortal is available too. Battery Overcharge is going to be off cooldown here in about a second. Yep, there it is. Protoss squeezing out a couple of probes. I wonder if that's a little bit too much, though. This might be the engagement that Protoss is, well, not looking for. Battery Overcharge completely out of range. Immortal gets shut down. Stalkers get shut down, too. Adepts were going for the counterattack. Those Zerglings were held in the back for a very long time, so I think that herO probably assumed that Dark was droning. So he decided to go for the counterattack. He decided to get a little bit more adventurous, potentially even think about a third Nexus while making probes in the natural. But that is not what's going on in this game. Dark is completely all in. He's got 0 workers mining in the natural. He hasn't done critical amounts of damage just yet, but yeah, we're getting to that point. Prism is out, and that's nice and all. But I've got a feeling there's a whole lot of nothing available for the Protoss player to now defend their natural. And once this natural falls, I think that's basically the end of the game. Oh my god, Prism falls as well. Not the greatest Protoss micro here. Because of that, it's Dark who obtains the victory, even after failing the proxy hedge. Okay. Our final game for today takes place on the map Tropical Sacrifice. Cybercore is done. What are we gonna build? Nothing. Oh, what? That was 120 something gas before he threw down the Twilight Council. I'm not exactly sure about that one. Could have built it a little bit sooner. Not as crisp as I'd like it to see. You really do need to be very crisp in your early game execution as Protoss. I mean, obviously there are some anti-timings as well. But showing up 5 seconds later than you could is never ideal for anyone. Obviously not the end of the world at all, but not something you can really do against someone of the caliber of Dark. Because if Dark can make an extra couple of drones here and there, he will certainly take the liberty to do so. Ooh, especially if you go for Glaive the Depths. So this is a timing attack, right? Like this is where you want to hit as soon as possible with as many units as possible as well. Alright, so Glaive the Depths. Interesting. Not a build we see a whole lot lately, but against Zerg players that like to go +1 melee early and skip the Roach Warren, this would be amazing. Overlord coming in from the back. Good snipe right there, though. Yeah, very nicely done here by Protoss. Forcing back that Overlord and maybe even getting a kill on it. Don't know if it's going to go down, but that is huge. One other scout here that Dark has as well. Yep. One other scout that Dark has over here as well is this Overlord right here on top of that high ground. Seeing right now that a third gas is already mining is very nice to know. It's a lot of good information. At least you know that it's not going to be a super standard opener here from Protoss. Because of that, he does decide to go for the Roach Warren while also simultaneously building a Spore Crawler. This is a little bit of bait, though. Yeah. The gas up north in that Netro is not actually building, or not actually mining, rather. It's already built, but it's got a lot of adepts. Does Zerg know? Does Zerg know? Dark has no spotter unit out in front. Oh, no. Okay, he's making blind units regardless. Double Stargate on the back of this. Interesting. So, by the way, this is not like your... I'm gonna also reinforce this with a War Prism type of Glaive to Depth opener. Are you still gonna commit? I think you are, right? Yeah. Okay. Drones already evacuating the main base. Debated right there. Nicely done. Good movement right from Dark. The double Stargate is kind of interesting, though. I think it has to go into Phoenixes. Not a lot of workers have gone down here. Like, a lot of Zerglings, of course. A lot of units forced out of the Zerg as well. Oh, no, it's double Oracle. Yeah. So, here's why I don't really like this. The most common follow-up, if you want to go for the late third Nexus, which is something that Dark knows of right now, after Glaive the Depths would be a Dark Shrine. Since a Dark Shrine requires you to have a Twilight Council, going straight into a Dark Shrine makes a lot of sense. And when you know that there's a potential of your opponent going Dark Shrine, you go Spore Crawlers. So these spores over here are built because he's expecting the potential, at the very least, for Dark Templar to come out. And it just so happens to be that the Spore Crawlers also counter Oracles. Well, they counter 2 Oracles. I don't know about 4 Oracles. 4 Oracles. I don't know about 4 Oracles. Are we gonna make 6? 6 Oracles? No. Just 4. He had a glimpse of it, but I don't know if he realized. Very nice creep spread, though. How many queens are we on? 9. Okay, he's got 9 queens. He should be okay. Yeah, not liking this too much here for Protoss. It's not looking too hot. Excellent movement here by the Zerg. Very nicely done. Ooh. A disaster. Anyhow. 3rd Nexus is here. And here I was thinking about going 4th Nexus. That feels a little bit greedy, not gonna lie. Well, might just work out. 4th hatchery coming up too. Stasis wart. Yep. Excellent movement here from Dark. Really nicely done. Dark doing the same thing that he did in game number 1, but this time around with a Roach Warren. So he's going +1 melee, he's gone for a Baneling Nest, but he's not playing quite as greedy because he still decided to go for a Roach Warren anyways. I think that's good. Thought for a second he had skipped it again. Okay. Shutting down some of the creep. But obviously there's going to be a lot more creep tumors on the back of this. Okay. Infestation Pit comes up. This is something that he just saw. So he saw the timing of the 2nd Evo Chamber as well as the Infestation Pit. Protoss once more decides to go for the Robotics Bay. Does herO know about the Roach Warren? He does. I think he probably scouted it actually with the Adept push. Anyways, this is still one hell of an army though. Yeah, a bit of a funky timing attack here. Not something you can really practice against very often, because how many times do you see an Adept opener into double Stargate Oracle? Oh, this could actually work out really well for Protoss now. He's got a lot of Zealots. Banelings obviously are very good against that though. Yeah, those Banelings were force-fielded into those Zealots. Units over there not actually committing. I think he needs more Banes. Obviously, it's difficult to make the decision, yeah, to morph those in, because it takes a little bit of time. Prism going around the right. Nexus up north at this point is done, so he's now going into Colossus as well as the 2nd Robo facility. Zerg has no idea about it. These Zealots in the main base should not achieve much. The majority of the Protoss army has decided to go back home. Okay. Templar Archives coming up. Definitely a different game again. Even though I liked the early game for Dark quite a bit better, herO has actually been playing so many tricks on his opponent that he somehow, some way wiggled himself back into it. Yeah, look at that. He's now even going for additional spores as well, just because he's very concerned. Again, though, does he know about the Colossi? Okay, he must have realized it. That's Dark's announcer, by the way. I think that's Caster Par. Anyways, he's going for double Colossus production at home. And I think that Dark has seen the Robo Bay. Yeah, and he's also seen the 2nd Robo facility. It could either be Disruptors or Colossus. Maybe that's why he's actually planting spores around his base. So Colossi are both ground units as well as air units, so Spore Crawlers can actually attack him. Because they take up both layers, I suppose. Alright. Here comes the Protoss pain train again. No blink yet available, 11 minutes into a Zerg versus Protoss. herO probably doesn't remember the last time that happened in one of his games. This is a scary Protoss army though, yeah. I don't think you can really defend that base. That base is super dead. For some reason, the Zerg force here looks tiny. Yeah, he's going in for a counterattack right now. Because of course he is. Okay. Here come the Banelings. Boof. Yep. 20 workers go down. These counterattacks are lethal. They have been the baneling of his existence. Lowko, you're so funny. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Anyways, no, that was a bit cringe. Anyways, he's going right now into a couple of Vipers, whereas herO is transitioning towards a proper late-game production structure in that Fleet Beacon as well as the second Stargate, or third Stargate. This main army here from Protoss, though, still has to be addressed. He needs some really good corrosive vials. Yeah, I was gonna say, he needs to start vialing. Oh, here come the Banelings. That was not good for Zerg. Yeah, no. That looked better than it did. Like, it wasn't actually that great. Okay, now we can... Ooh, he doesn't have energy for abductions yet, does he? Ooh, that's a bit of a disaster. At the very least, this is putting a timer right now on the Protoss army. Well, unless you can just snipe the Vipers. There you go. Both of the Vipers end up going down. I'm not entirely sure why they just go-load forward like that. That is a classical mistake. Losing Vipers for free is definitely not what you want to do. Now Roaches are actually also... Ooh. Moving to this location. This always is a scary spot, right? Because this is like the intersection of all of the Protoss base, or all of the Zerg bases rather, where all of the Zerg units meet. And at this point, it's going to be really hard to reinforce those Zerg units all together. Just Roaches and Ravagers would do the trick. Oh my god, those Colossi may accidentally just win the game again. They have got a ridiculous amount of kills. That Prism somehow flew into the corrosive vial. There were a bunch of units going down on the other side of the map too. It looks like maybe it was a Baneling drop or something along those lines. But again, does it really matter? It seems to me that we are ending this best of 5 series in much the same way as we started it. A lot of economical damage done on the other side of the map. But no way to actually deal with the Protoss force itself. Well, maybe that's a little early. With that Prism going down, and there's a new one coming across. There's really not that many reinforcements here to the Protoss army. Okay. He might be able to clean this up. Problem is, already a lot of damage has been done. Now, Protoss doesn't have a lot of eco either, though. Maybe I'm actually a little bit... Maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit. Okay, those... those drones got absolutely demolished. Yeah, I just don't see how Zerg is going to be reliably killing those Colossi. Like, imagine if he had a couple abductions still available at this point. Now the Prism is out as well, of course. Prism can provide a lot of juggle potential. GG is cold. And eventually, it is indeed herO who obtains the victory. Hey, if you made it all the way until the end of this video, please take the 1 second that it takes to hit the like button down below. I know everyone on YouTube asks for that, but it really does help. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to smile, and I'll see you once again in the next one.